For our project, we did the Fugitive Slave Act from the perspective of free blacks.
So we are going to be talking about the summary of the Fugitive Slave Act, why we think a solution is needed, a real-life example, which is Anthony Burns, and we're going to talk about a quote by Reverend Luther Lee, and then Nan's going to share with us some data about fleeing fugitives, and finally our solution, which is protesting, and some pros and cons about protesting.
So as a summary, the Compromise of 1850 was where the Fugitive Slave Law originated, and it was a compromise for adding California into the Union as a free state. So they created the Fugitive Slave Law. It was compromised by Senators Stephen Douglas and Henry Clay, and it allowed for Southern slave owners in the South to come up to the North and seek out runaway slaves in the North, and to try and kidnap them and bring them back to their plantations.
Okay, so we recognize as free blacks this is obviously a problem and we need a solution. So a couple of reasons why we need a solution. Basically, this law is forcing the Northerners to be responsible for something that they don't necessarily believe in. We are a free state, and although not everyone here is an abolitionist, there are a lot of people that are abolitionists and that do not believe in slavery. That being said, it doesn't seem just that we should just force these people to allow these slave catchers and be turning people in left and right just because of this law, even if they don't believe in it. In addition, this law is unconstitutional. It violates the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment states that basically, unless a law is written in the Constitution, states are not responsible to follow this law. The Fugitive Slave Law is not in the Constitution. There's nothing in the Constitution that mentions slavery, anything like that. So therefore, Massachusetts should not be subject to this law if they do not want to be. Again, Congress cannot just pass this law that violates the rights of not only the free blacks living in the country, or in the state, but also other people, abolitionists, and just other people that are living here. It's against their personal freedom, religion. It goes against a lot of people's religion, slavery does, and it just forces people to act against what they truly believe in. Most importantly, it goes against free blacks. Basically, we are free blacks. We came to Boston, either escaping from slavery or we were already here, and we come here to feel safe, to get away from the South, that we don't like slavery, obviously. It's a place that we see opportunity to grow and to develop our own lives. And we expect as citizens or as people, that we would be protected by the law. And this clearly shows that the law is not protecting us. The government is corrupt in a sense. It makes us feel unsafe. We have to live our lives now in fear that someone, a slave catcher, someone from the South, may come up and take us back down, even if we're already free blacks or we're not fugitive slaves. It affects a lot of people and more than just those that have directly escaped from the South. Okay, so one example of this is Anthony Burns. As you will notice, the image in the top right of all these pictures is actually Anthony Burns. So just a little bit about his story. We all know that he came from the South. He escaped from slavery and came to Boston in order to kind of rebuild his life and just be able to reestablish himself. He was, however, recaptured by slave catchers. In addition, it was pretty unethical how he was captured. I mean, he was tricked into it. He didn't know, so that also kind of a little on the iffy side. In addition, so his case was brought to trial, and he appealed that he was a free black and that there wasn't a real reason that he should have been captured. Unfortunately, he was sent back down to the South. He lost the trial, but however, this trial did bring a lot of positive, or maybe not necessarily positive, but it brought a lot of attention to the issue of the Fugitive Slave Law and how it violates free blacks' rights. It just showed how, again, the government was corrupt in this sense, and that it was a problem that needed solving. So, obviously, in the end, he was actually bought back by some Northerners and given his freedom in Boston.
So there were a lot of citizens in the North who weren't fans of this act, and one of them was a reverend from Syracuse, New York, Reverend Luther Lee, who said in his autobiography that I never would have obeyed. I had assisted 30 slaves to escape to Canada during the last month. the authorities wanted anything of me, my residence was at 39 Onondaga Street. I would admit that, and they could take me and lock me up in the penitentiary on the hill. But if they did such a foolish thing as that, I had friends enough on Onondaga County to level it to the ground before the next morning. So through this quote, you can sort of see like the indifference that some of the citizens paid towards this act, because they didn't take it really as like a real thing, and then they could just ignore it and they'd be fine if they once they went to the country.
Okay, so here's a graph that basically shows the number of fugitives that fled Boston during this time period. As you can see, it shows, it starts from October of 1850, which is when the law was enacted, and it goes about 10 years into July of 1851. So basically, what this shows is at the beginning of the time period, in 1850, there were around 500 fugitive slaves living in Boston. As you can see, as the months go on, the number of fugitive slaves decreases. So a lot of slaves ended up, or not slaves, but they're fugitives, so free blacks, ended up going to Canada just to escape the law. This shows that really the law wasn't that helpful. I mean, what it was trying to do was to recapture black people and bring them back down to the South, when in reality it was just making them run even further away. So it really wasn't that effective in Boston. But as you can see, if we extend this to 10 years, so July when the line ends, there are less than 200 fugitives left at the rate that they are fleeing now. So obviously that's a problem. Short-term effects as free blacks, it affects us a lot. I mean, we fear our lives every single day that we're going to be captured. We can't live freely. Obviously, we didn't have exactly the same rights as a free white man, but we should have at least a little right. And now, as you can see, there are a lot of people that didn't feel they had these rights. People were leaving churches. Mostly, there were a bunch of churches specifically for free blacks that, with the purpose of protecting them. And I mean, the church is somewhere where you're supposed to feel safe, where you should feel protected, but these people were not feeling protected or safe, and they ended up leaving. In addition, just some long-term effects. I mean, look how this would affect how other people see Boston. We want the city to grow and flourish and be a strong place where a lot of people feel comfortable living, but if we continue, or if we don't do anything about this law and fugitives keep leaving, I mean, what does that say about our city? Are we really protecting the people? So the solution that we're proposing is to protest. And we are going to have constant protesting at the House of Representatives and to the legislators. We think that protesting is the best possible solution because it's an easy way to gain followers and tell people about our cause. It also is a good way to get more followers because since people want to be a part of something, they will help protest with us, even if we don't ask them. And they may also spread the protesting to other areas. We also want to protest so we convince people in power to act on our behalf and to get rid of the Fugitive Slave Act. And we want to keep it peaceful, but if all else fails, we will riot and turn to more violent means of protesting. The effects of protesting are mostly good. It spreads the message and creates an uprising. It's an easy way to get our thoughts and opinions out there to the public and show them what we want to do. It also places the trail for more public support. As I said, people can spread the protesting to other areas that we haven't started at. And it also can affect in nullification, which is ultimately what we want to do. And this would be getting rid of the Fugitive Slave Act completely so that free blacks can live without having the fear of being brought back to slavery. What actually ended up happening was the personal liberty law was passed in many states in the North, which we'll explain more later.
The some cons to protesting or criticisms that people have against it is they could say that it's not forceful enough, but we believe that we'll get enough people behind our movement that it'll really make a difference in our community. There's also the potential that it won't get enough of a following, but we believe that in Boston and Massachusetts there are enough people against slavery since we do live in a free state, and we believe that there are enough abolitionists that it'll really cause a stir and get a lot of people behind it. Protesting, or our protesting here, could be useless unless the representatives act upon it, but the goal is to get enough people that our elected officials will realize that they won't get reelected unless they really do something about this unfair law.
So the final response to the act, the actual response to the personal liberty laws, which were designed to make the government more fair for free blacks living in the North. And this was a good option for them to avoid nullification, which often can be controversial. And it was a good way to go for statewide acts rather than through federal. And instead of just being an entire new system, it was more of a stepping stone to final equality.